In 1992, a person who was known for his deep experiences and writings started working with Dolores Cannon. He wanted to learn more about the world through her unique hypnosis technique. During a session under hypnosis, he talked about a significant event that had happened in a hotel room in Toronto. This event was astonishing and revealed a lot of harsh truths about our planet. He talked about the creepy night he met a mysterious person in his hotel room. An unexpected visitor showed up at his door late at night, going around the rules of normal life. The visitor talked about a crucial period in human history that the Holocaust influenced and made reference to a missed opportunity that could have revolutionized our understanding of gravity and our place in the cosmos. This revelation was similar to what Dolores found in her regression sessions with other clients when she talked about lost civilizations and advanced knowledge. During the session, it became clear that what the visitor saw wasn't just a ghost, but a messenger, possibly from the same realms or dimensions that Dolores often saw in her work with clients. They thought about how the terrible losses in the Holocaust had slowed down progress in technology, and how this event had changed the course of human evolution. This meeting gave him a way to put his experience in the bigger picture of human potential and the way the universe works. The hypnotic journey showed how complicated the connections are between what happened in the past and what might happen in the future. He went deeper through many sessions, and he discovered shocking revelations. This man was an alien. The visitor asserted that the Holocaust had significantly reduced human intelligence, thereby halting technological advancements, particularly in the understanding of gravity, and how the tragic deaths of potential smart people during the Holocaust slowed down progress in aviation and the missing link in gravity's control. This story thread fit right into the beginning of their meeting and emphasized a theme that kept coming up: lost knowledge and how it slows human progress. The visitors issued stark warnings about AI and climate change. This session with Dolores gave him a chance to think about his strange experience again and see how it fit into a bigger picture. He talked about the scary details of sudden changes in the weather and ideas about advanced storms. Dolores noticed how much it reminded her of her book, The Conversation with Nostradamus, about terrible events from the past. If you want to know about Nostradamus, you can watch one of my videos on this channel. These sessions with Nostradamus bring us larger themes that bring importance to a higher level, giving us a better sense of where humans fit in the grand scheme of things, and how important lessons from the past still affect our present and future. But the story doesn't end here. He talked about environmental disasters and how they affected history. He talked about the sudden changes in climate that happened on Earth in the past and left behind frozen artifacts that show how they happened. He described locations in Alaska and Russia where scientists discovered frozen animals with undigested food still in their mouths. He painted a picture of a sudden, terrible change. He connected this to the tale of Otzi the Iceman, who perished in Tyrol during the Stone Age and remained undiscovered for thousands of years due to the preservation of fast, hard snow, how the Gulf Stream would stop, and how it would cause big changes in the climate. He remembered how skeptical people were when he first told them about these ideas, especially the concept of a superstorm. Despite initially ruling out these extreme weather events, more research and climatological studies have begun to support their plausibility. Recently, strange subtropical storm formations and the weakening Gulf Stream are signs that big changes are happening in the weather. It's time to think about the future of humanity in the face of these problems, because the weather and the changes that were coming would cause a big drop in the population, or whether society could stay together and go on as usual. This story, which developed during Dolores Cannon's hypnotic session, was a mix of a personal encounter and global foresight. It connected experiences with bigger ideas of change, survival, and the never-ending search for understanding in a world full of uncertainty. In this made-up conversation, the idea of self-destruction and its historical roots come to the table. He focused on how events in the past and human nature affect current global problems. He contemplated the notion that ingrained habits and possibly a fundamental flaw in human nature lead to people's destructive actions, both collectively and individually. He connected these past weather events to changes in the environment today, suggesting a pattern of fast change that happens over and over again. Think about how people act, looking at the Catholic idea of sin and guilt. He made the conversation more fun by telling stories about breaking diet rules as a child. Through this personal story, I was able to think more broadly about why people do bad things, even when they know what might happen. He suggests that either a flaw in human genetics or changes over time could be at the root of this behavior. This would explain why humans put too much emphasis on sexual activity and don't change their sexual behavior with the seasons, which is different from other species. He said this might be one reason why people tend to overpopulate and put stress on the environment. If you can see what he said about the master of the keys, you can see how obsessed we are with material things. We think about how we value things that bring us short-term pleasure, but also add extra stress to our lives. This is a build-up that is especially clear when we move, because we bring things we don't use with us because we think they might come in handy someday. He made us think about the Master's deep statement about drowning in our own trash, which is both a literal and figurative reference to how much we buy, and the strange truth that our economy depends on people always buying things and how quickly things stop happening. When people stop buying things, like during the pandemic lockdowns, consider the connections between the world's major religions. The Master told me that Christianity, Buddhism, and Islam all have different energies, such as active, passive, and reconciling energies. Understanding these energies can give us a new way to look at the main teachings of each religion, which promotes a broad view instead of a narrow belief-based one. We have also looked into Hinduism through the Master's writings. The description of Hinduism's gods as possessing refined personalities will astound you, by showing how these gods represent different parts of human nature and consciousness. This view gives us a new way to think about Hinduism and other polytheistic religions. In this part, we need to make a reflection in the mind, encouraging us to think about how materialistic we are and to seek a deeper, more connected spiritual understanding. We must consider the profound connection people have with the material world. He points out the strange paradox of how we depend on things that don't seem important for our survival and comfort. This shows how unique people are and how small rebellions can make us happy. After a lighter conversation about how people tend to hurt themselves, he gets more serious and asks why people do things they know are bad for them and the planet. This thinking about oneself leads to a discussion about the bigger forces at work in human evolution and design. The suggestion is that the world's overcrowding and overconsumption may stem from our constant readiness to reproduce and lack of sexual seasonality. He speculates on whether this flaw in our species stems from external manipulation. Then they talk about the possible risks of being too attached to material things and how our consumer-driven society affects the environment and people. His frustration stems from the accumulation of wealth and power over time, leading to significant disparities in wealth and power, as well as environmental damage. This makes us think about the deeper reasons behind our materialistic pursuits and the need for a more conscious and sustainable way of living on Earth. The pyramid texts within the Pyramid of Unas demonstrate the connection between this story and ancient Egyptian wisdom. He says that these writings are not just religious texts, but also the remains of a complex soul science. They contain knowledge that shows how the soul moves between the physical and spiritual worlds. According to this ancient science, there is a constant connection and change between the soul, the electric or energy body, and the physical body. The physical body is always interacting with the world. The physical body sends a stream of impressions up the spine, resembling a column of light. These impressions speed up their journey into the energy body. In turn, this body transmits these refined essences to the soul, which exists outside of time and space. Dolores' work talks about the soul's long journey by saying that it might appear in many bodies at the same time and in different places in time, with each life showing a different aspect of its vast eternal nature. In its eternal state, the soul gathers the light of experience, preparing for a judgment by the standards of Ma'at, an ancient Egyptian concept of truth and righteousness. As the eternal flame, love stands in contrast to hate, which, like coal, burns out and leaves nothing but ashes behind. On the other hand, love's warmth lasts forever, passing down from generation to generation. Even though this conversation starts with a personal issue, it moves on to more general issues, similar to what Dolores Cannon writes about. Her regression therapy sessions often show the soul's journey, and many times she finds out about how the ancient Egyptians thought about the afterlife and the soul's ascension. His experiences, both his own and those shared by others like Cannon, give us a glimpse into the vast, intricate world of the cosmos, where each soul's journey shows how creation and consciousness are always together. Someday, in one of his sightings, the visitor has taken him and gone to the peaceful harmony of an Alaskan dawn. A familiar sound, reminiscent of ships idling, startles him. He goes outside because of this familiar sound. The winter bare trees revealed something strange in the clearing beyond. It makes him feel bad to think about leaving his family and friends for the unknown. In this moment between going up close or staying away because a harsh voice in his head is pushing him to move forward, as he thinks about it, 3 cries cut through the night air. They are so clear and full of emotion that they connect with him deeply and hold him in that moment. An unseen presence follows him around in his own home, sending him on a strange trip through his memories. He ends up in the house where he grew up and merges with his younger self in a deep moment of connection. This shows how life goes on from one experience to the next, and how these experiences feed the soul. When we think about these times, it shows how complicated it is between this life and the next. This shows how important it is to feed our spiritual nature with the rich tapestry of our life experiences. Dolores Cannon's wise words make us think about what good and evil are, and how our actions affect everything around us. By accepting that our lives are a collection of different experiences, it guides us through the tricky world of morality, recognizing that empathy and understanding can change our path as a whole. This story, which is filled with existential questions and personal revelations, makes us think about the deepest mysteries of life and the limitless potential of the human spirit. Suddenly, 3 clear cries cut through the air. They were a mix of mechanical precision and deep emotional depth that rooted him in the present. Despite the temptation, he ventures inside, where an invisible presence greets him and immerses him in a vivid memory, seamlessly merging his adult consciousness with his childlike one. People are now discussing the concept of good and evil. They talked about the idea that moral duality is made up by people and hides the objective reality of life's cycles. The discussion delves into the notion that our perception of evil often stems from our perception of right. This shows how morality is subjective. Let's think about how love lasts while hatred fades away. This is similar to what the mysterious visitor from his past said about evil being entropic, meaning it will eventually run out of energy. He says that love, on the other hand, has an eternal, self-perpetuating energy that drives the universe toward ecstasy and includes more than just sensual pleasure. Ancient Egyptian texts reveal that the soul is a timeless entity, nourished by the physical experiences of all its past lives. To get through the coming global changes, this point of view encourages a deeper reflection on life and a shift in focus from the physical to the spiritual. In the end, let's take a breath and think about all of this. How can aligning with the universe's natural yearning change things? If you believe that living in harmony with the universe and our souls is the best way to solve the world's problems, you are right. We have to imagine a future where people, armed with newfound spiritual knowledge, explore the universe not just through advanced technology, but also by having a deep understanding of what the universe is really like. Thank you.